All right, thanks. Hi, everyone. We're Nicholas and David, the founders of Honeysuckle, and we're going to change how code is written fundamentally. So software is everywhere around us in our lives. Cars, phones, IoT devices, etc. More devices means the code base is growing, which in turn increases complexity in large software projects. But we're not seeing that the software development landscape is keeping up with this rapidly rising complexity. On the other hand, we all know developers are scarce and rather expensive. And did you know they spend a large chunk of their time actually reviewing and working through code instead of writing it? And that is exactly why companies are spending billions of dollars every year to make developer tools or to invest in developer tools and increase the efficiency of developers. And still, developers are begging for the next level software development ecosystem to make the most use of the precious time.
As a developer myself, I come up with this question recurrently. Why are we wasting time searching for information in a very fragmented pile of files? Don't get me wrong, we as developers have a lot of great tools and programming languages at our disposal. But when it comes down to what we're doing each and every day, it is navigating through text, trying to figure out what it means, and to make it even harder, we're splitting it up into 100, if not thousands, of different files. But we know that there's another way to do things. And this is why we are building at Honeysuckle the first cloud-first IDE. We are storing and connecting all the elements in a graph database, and thereby taming the beast of complexity. In practice, each element has a unique identifier and therefore is directly addressable. It doesn't matter if you have a function, a variable, some piece of documentation, test cases, test results, or even a discussion on Slack on how to implement this feature. If it's relevant to each other, you can connect it. And instead of searching where your tickets or where your tasks are, you have them right there at your fingertips.
So right now, David, as the developer, is spending every minute of his available time in developing the core of Honeysuckle and pursuing our vision. That's why we're still pre-MVP and ask for 600K for the first year to jumpstart the development and enter the proof of concept phase. So are you ready to launch with us?
Perfect on time. Congratulations, great pitch. Now I'm looking at the jury. Who wants to go first? Don't be shy. Kashyap, come on.
Yeah. So, I would love to see the product that would, come out. Is there some sort of a wireframe? Because I'm not able to visualize what the product is. Is it more of a back-end thing? Because you mentioned graph database as your core. Or is it also going to be a front-end GUI to it? Yeah.
Yes. For the non-developers, it's basically like if Word would not store the text you're writing in words, but instead it saves the text itself as Subjekt, Prädikat, Objekt in German, these are the elements. And by doing so, if you have to replace or change the future to the past, if you have this more information there, you could do it. But right now, to do it, you have to read every line and assure when you're changing the subject or the time that the text is still correct. This is our daily work as a developer. So by changing the backend to storing this information differently, we can enable a lot of more tools and features.
But to answer the question, there's nothing to show yet.
Okay, yeah, this is what. So in terms of your model of revenue, like how would you charge people? Would you charge the businesses, I assume?
Yeah, well, we're planning to make the core open source, start as an open source project, and typical software as a service business model.
Yeah, because when you're hosting the code on your servers, this is where the people are actually paying. This is where the companies are paying. They are not paying that much for the license. They are paying for the uptime, for the guarantees to have this. So this is where we would probably partner up with a server like Hetzner Cloud, etc.
And would you be competing with people like MongoDB and other database providers who also have like a lot of plugins to have graph database?
We are using actually, shout out to HDB for their tech, also another open source. We are building on them, on their core.
Robin.
Thank you.
Very interesting topic. Just to better understand your product, because I'm not sure if I really get the full scope. So is that a developer tool that just helps developers to save time, or does this create a new programming language?
Actually, this way you could create the Esperanto of programming languages. So the one unique programming language to cross-compile to every imaginable programming language, because you're not going to use the text anymore. So yeah, it's more.
But for the first thing, or it's saving time. So that's our USP now, but later on, yes, we could, yeah, it's like a universal programming language.
Okay, very interesting. I just wonder how this is working with existing codes and languages and projects if you want to implement and deploy your solution in existing infrastructures.
Because we can save arbitrary information and link together. So when we're reading, there's a Python library and has a function in it. For us now, it's very easy because we know this is a Python function to generate the glue code to call this function and to make it available. This is very difficult right now because a compiler understands its language, but not the other one. So, and by generating the glue code, it's getting easy.
Are you all still with us?
And what does Honeysuckle mean?
So Honeysuckle is actually a plant where hummingbirds extract the honey, but it's close to ivy, so the nodes and the
Connecting everything.
Connecting everything, basically.
Kiana?
And how does your roadmap look like? So what's the next step? And what do you want to prove before getting a bigger round?
So we're currently founding the company. So we're looking for a seed investment because, it's using up a lot of money. We need more developers on board, so David doesn't stay the sole developer. We need to step up the pace. So that's basically the next step, and we're planning to have a finished core by end of this year, to have an alpha release in the third quarter of next year.
All right, last comment, or everything clear so far? Then I want to...
Is that comparable to semantic web, like your approach?
I don't get.
Sorry,
I did not get
what's
that
the
part.
question? Is it comparable to semantic web?
I actually don't know what you mean by semantic web. Sorry.
Well, that you look on the semantic. Oh, okay, forget it. I put that on a note.
All right, we can follow up afterwards. Thank you very much, Team Honeysuckle. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for listening.